In this video, I'm going to show you how I started a YouTube channel that made money on the first day and how you can do the exact same thing. I'm going to show you the exact path, content strategy, monetization methods, and most importantly, the business hacks that I used. Because most people who start a YouTube channel wait months or even years to make money from it. And usually they wait until they're monetized, which means they have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. But what if I told you that there's a way to make money from your very first video? Well, that's exactly how I went from zero to making over $30,000 in just 30 days on my second channel. And we're also going to talk about the secret weapons that I use to grow faster and to monetize more effectively. And one of those has even become my primary source of income, making me significantly more than YouTube AdSense ever could. So let's begin from the beginning. So on May 1st of 2024, I made a decision. I decided that I was going to do a 30-day challenge where I upload a video every single day on my second YouTube channel, which was Shane Hummus. Now, at the time, this channel had exactly 1 subscriber, and it was someone from the team. And you can see down in the description, it says that it was uploaded on May 2nd. The only reason it says that is because I'm traveling internationally. But in the United States, it was May 1st. Now, at the time, I already had a very successful channel. My main channel, Shane Hummus, had over 700,000 subscribers. And over time, people reached out to me, and sometimes I'd go to business conferences, and people would want help with their YouTube channel. And so I started helping them. And many people were able to get results right away just by copying and pasting the system that I'd created for my main channel. However, there were some people that were skeptical that what worked 4 or 5 years ago when I started the channel wouldn't work now, right? They thought YouTube was way more competitive or it had changed, and the strategy that I came up with was outdated. And I took that personally. So I had this problem of people being skeptical that my method works. And so I decided to challenge myself. I decided that I was going to start a brand new channel, and my goal was to get it to 10K a month in the first month. And I announced this challenge on my Twitter, on my LinkedIn, and on my main channel. And this was basically a split-second decision because I literally uploaded the first video on the first day. And the first video was just basically explaining what the challenge was and explaining why I was doing it. And in this video, I explained that not only was I starting with a fresh channel, but just to handicap myself further, I was only going to be able to use very basic equipment that just about everyone would have access to. So equipment such as a webcam on a laptop or my phone. And I was also going to keep the content super basic without any crazy editing, just to show people that it works even if you're editing the videos yourself or even if you don't have a team. And what happened next was absolutely insane because in the next 30 days, I made over $35,000 with at least 30,000 of it directly attributable to the second channel. And on top of that, I was able to become a YouTube partner, aka get monetized. And this is something that typically takes people about 3 to 6 months if they consistently upload. Now, by the way, guys, if you're curious about how I've grown this YouTube channel and how I make these videos so entertaining yet educational, I am going to be hosting a live YouTube training on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I basically just revealed the exact strategies that I used to grow my channel to multiple 6 figures per month. So that's another free training for you. Now, one thing I will say here is when it comes to the requirements for monetization, you shouldn't wait to be monetized to start making money. Because first of all, even if you do get monetized, you're probably only going to be making a few dollars a day from AdSense. And usually it's going to take a long time to build that up. And second, there are far better ways of monetizing. So let's talk about the old way. You get to 1,000 subscribers, you get 4,000 hours of watch time. Usually this takes you several months, and that's if you're consistent. And then you get monetized just to earn pennies from AdSense. And then a year later, maybe you get lucky, you start getting some sponsorship deals where you get paid $1,000 to do a video. And maybe at that point, you're also making $1,000 a month from AdSense, but still, it's really hard to make a full-time income. The second way is making money from day one. That very first video that I uploaded talking about the 30-day challenge. So from that very first video that I uploaded, I got a client. And this was a $5,000 sale. And this is the new way of doing things. You upload videos to YouTube that solve big problems for people who actually have money, and you get paid to help those people solve those problems. So instead of chasing subscribers and watch hours, I focused on high ticket conversions from day one, and that is what you should do as well. And this shifts the entire game from volume to value. And let's be honest, there's only so many people in the world. And channels like Mr. Beast make incredible content that entertains people. So instead of trying to compete with Mr. Beast on the home page, it makes a lot more sense just to make content for a very specific demographic or niche of people, help those people with your content, and then offer even more help in the form of a high-ticket product, service, or coaching program. And so on my channel, what I did is I served busy business owners and YouTubers who wanted to turn YouTube into a real business. So I basically just taught them how to do what I did with my first channel, right? I had a career coaching business and it wasn't doing that well. I was really struggling with client acquisition. And then I started my YouTube channel and I completely blew up my business to the point where I literally couldn't even take care of all the clients. And I had to completely change my business model. But you might be thinking, Shane, how exactly do I find this audience, right? How do I find these people who are willing to pay $5,000 or even more? Well, you find them with the 3 R's framework. And the first R is real people, right? You want to find a specific group of people that are easily identifiable with their demographics, and you want to make sure that these are the types of people that are willing to spend money. So let's just say that you're targeting IT professionals, right? This is a specific group of people that are easily identifiable. And because of the fact that we know that IT professionals oftentimes spend money on certifications and certificates in order to up-level their career, this is a great audience of people to serve because we know that they spend money. Then you want to find real problems that these people have, right? This is a painful problem typically, right? Emotion is important. They are experiencing pain with this problem and they're willing to spend money in order to fix it. So back to the example of IT professionals. We want to find a painful problem that a lot of them have. Just as an example, many of them get stuck in lower level jobs like IT help desk, where they might get paid anywhere from $40,000 to $70,000 a year, but they can't up level from there. And they really want to get to that 6-figure plus level. Then the third thing is real money. IT professionals oftentimes work remotely and they're in the United States. So people in the United States are basically rich anywhere else in the world. And you really want to find these people who are cash rich and time poor. And that's pretty much people in the US. Plus you want to find people that have money to spend on their problems. Now an IT professional would probably be at the bottom of this list, right? They don't have the most money, but compared to the rest of the world, they do have a good amount. And so you'd take this 3 R's framework and you would figure out a way to solve their problem in a unique way. Now this example that I gave you is actually a real example from one of my clients. Josh helps people get into IT and then he also helps existing IT professionals level up their skills and make much more money in higher paying jobs. And he makes over $180,000 a month doing this. Another example would be my client Joaquin. He targets foreign exchange students that want to get into elite universities in the US. So these are real people and they're easily identifiable by their demographics. And these people have a real problem. It is very difficult and competitive to get into elite universities, especially if you're a foreign exchange student. Now you might be thinking, but Shane, these students don't have real money. Actually, you'd be wrong. Oftentimes people who are wealthy in other places like India, China, or Europe want to send their kids to a US and specifically a prestigious US university because it's a real status symbol. And they are willing to spend a ton of money to do this. And Joaquin was able to scale to $80,000 a month with this business. And then there's my client Wiz, who basically targets agency owners, right? A specific group of people that are easily identifiable, and he helps them solve the problem of client acquisition on Twitter and LinkedIn. And that is a very painful problem. And these people are cash rich and time poor. And he makes well over $100,000 a month. And all these people were able to make money right away on YouTube, pretty much from day one. And if you want to do this, I'm going to walk you through exactly what to do, why it works so well, and how to implement it step by step with examples from my own channels and clients. But in order to really understand this, you really need to understand the money paradox. And that is that people with less money care more about money, right? They constantly obsess over and care about money. And then people with more money actually care less about money. And what they actually care about is time, convenience, and outcomes. Just as an example, a few weeks ago, I was having issues recording outside. And the reason for this is because the sun was really coming down hard and I wanted to record with a certain background. So I couldn't position the sun to where it was actually lighting my face. And because of that, my face was very dark and the background was very bright. And we thought about buying expensive lights and setting up an entire set. And I realized that that would take a lot of time and it would be very inconvenient. So what did I do? I went and I bought the newest iPhone because it has AI features that automatically brighten my face. And you don't even have to use lights to do that. And that's literally the only reason I bought the iPhone. And I bought the most expensive version that was like $2,000. Why? Because it saved me a little bit of time and it was convenient. And it got me the outcome that I wanted. And the truth is, people with money actually care less about money and more about outcomes, time, and convenience. People who don't have money obsessively care about every dollar. while wealthy people and businesses care more about solving problems and efficiency. And this truth should change your entire approach to monetization. And the truth is, most clients out there are going to be low budget clients. Most people out there in general don't have that much money. And because of the fact that they worry so much about money, they don't have that much time, and they have minimal engagement, because of the fact that they didn't spend that much money on your product, and they're difficult to manage. These are usually the clients that take up like 95% of your time, whereas high ticket clients are committed and easy to work with. These are the people that are taking things very seriously. They spent a lot of money and they expect to get an outcome, and they are willing to put in the work to get to their goal. And just to give you an example of this, I've had clients in the past that have paid me less than $1,000, and they're calling me at all hours of the night, expecting the world from me, basically expecting me to run their business for them and make them money. And a lot of the times these clients pay an installment, so they don't even pay the full amount of money up front. And then I've had clients that have wired me $18,000 without even thinking about it, and then they just ask me a few questions, get on a few calls with me over a 3 to 6 month period, and they reach their goals. And when you think about it, somebody who's brand new, somebody who's kind of a lower ticket client, let's just say they have to have 100 things in place in order to get an outcome, right? They have to have 100 things dialed in. When they first start with you, they probably have 5 or 10 out of 100, and you have to help them get the rest of the 90 to 95 out of 100 dialed in. Whereas higher ticket clients, usually they'll have 90 to 95% of things dialed in, and you just have to help them with the last 5 to 10%. So it's way easier to get them results, right? These types of clients only take up like 5% of your time, and they'll result in like 95% of your revenue. So it makes sense to only target high ticket clients. And when you're making your content, this is what you want to be thinking about. You want to stop thinking about how to get millions of views and hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and start thinking about how you can solve valuable problems for the specific people that are going to be your best clients. So the next question is, how do you target a niche audience who has money? Well, that's where niche 2.0 selection strategy comes in. So when it comes to identifying a profitable niche, you basically want to find people with money, and you really want to target both of these things, right? People that have money and an urgent, painful problem. Why? Because the right niche makes monetization dramatically easier in connection with the 3 R's. Now let's talk about some general niches on YouTube. So on the left side, you see some CPMs for general niches and whether or not they're good for selling digital products. And I also put whether or not you can get a lot of views with these niches. And then on the right side, I put which ones are the best. So generally speaking, personal finance, make money online, software, Forex trading, marketing, a career, YouTube niche, etc. A lot of these are very good. So this basically validates that there's a bunch of people that are generally interested in these niches, but you definitely want to go deeper than this. And by the way, if you're not aware, the 3 main like overlord niches are going to be health, wealth, and relationships. And the reason these 3 are the best is because generally speaking, almost everyone in the world has issues with one or multiple of these 3 things at any given time. Then when choosing your niche, you want to make what's called a niche hypothesis statement. And that is, I help X get Y by Z. Now you can modify this a little bit. For instance, you could say, I help X get Y by Z without A, or you can just say, I help X get Y. So just as an example, Anik Singhal, he helps entrepreneurs with online marketing and sales training. Now the reason you want to make up this niche hypothesis statement is because you want to get crystal clear on exactly who you're helping and what you're helping them with. And if you're in a little bit more of a saturated niche, you want to tag on how you're going to help them and also how you're not going to help them. So basically other things that they've already tried. So just as an example with Anik Singhal. Now Anik Singhal is pretty well known, so he doesn't have to do this. He can go a little bit more mass market. He might help entrepreneurs with online marketing and sales training using live webinars and without having to hire a sales team or spend a bunch of money on paid ads. Something like that. But when you first start, especially if you're in more of a saturated niche, you'd want to consider tacking on those other 2. So at this point, you would want to validate your demand. You can use tools like Social Blade or vidIQ in order to do this. And of course, this isn't for people who already have a business or a niche where they know there's a bunch of demand. But even with those types of clients, a lot of the time, just a subtle shift or targeting one type of person over another can be all it takes to make a ton of money. So use Social Blade or vidIQ and type in, let's say, personal finance, for example, and then click a personal brand channel. And then you can even click on related channels. Additionally, with vidIQ, you can type in different keywords and it'll actually pop up channels that rank a lot for that keyword. Now, a pro tip here is actually looking for smaller channels that have videos where the views far outpace the amount of subscribers that they have. So for instance, a channel with 10,000 subscribers and a video that got 700,000 views. this indicates that there is a massive amount of interest for that video idea. So just as an example, this is a very basic example. This person actually has the word personal finance in the channel title, Personal Finance with Ravi Sharma. Now, although it is a pretty general channel topic, personal finance, like I talked about before, you can see that he specializes in helping Australians build a foundation for retirement using real estate investment, right? So that's right there. That's the I help X do Y by Z, right? Specifically Australians, there's specific things about Australian markets that are going to be different than any other market. He helps them retire, right? That's a big problem that a lot of people have. It's quite difficult to retire these days. And how does he do it? He does it with real estate investing. Now let's dive a little bit deeper into niche selection. And in this one, I honestly have to give credit to one of the absolute masters, which is Russell Brunson. Now he wrote a book called Expert Secrets. And in this book, he breaks down how to position yourself in a unique way. And this is specifically very good for people who are making educational content, right? Content where you are solving people's problems. And basically what you want to do for these people is you want to encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help throw rocks at their enemies. So here's an example of me doing that all in one video. The most useless degrees. In this video, I encourage people's dreams by saying some degrees out there or some career paths out there are still really good, but I justify people's failures by saying the traditional advice that you get from most people is quite bad, aka get any degree and it's going to be great. And then people end up getting a useless degree. And I guess you could also say I confirm their suspicions by saying that, traditional media, the government, etc., they kind of encourage you to get these degrees and get, $100,000 in student loan debt. I throw rocks at enemies such as colleges, the government in some cases, and also student loan financing companies. Then I allay their fears just by saying that there are other alternatives out there that are better, right? And this is the Expert Secrets method. And it is incredibly effective for targeting the right niche, getting their attention, and not just being negative about things because you don't just want to post negative content, but actually showing that, hey, there is an alternative that's going to be better. Additionally, if you want to make your channel stand out, you want to adjust what I like to call the 8 personality dials. And these are the things that can really change the personality of your channel to make it stand out, so that even if you're talking about the same exact content as other people or other YouTube channels, your viewers will still watch your channel instead of theirs. And these 8 personality dials are passion versus practicality, right? Are you someone who's very passionate about the niche, or are you someone who's just pretty practical, right? Like, are you somebody who wants to focus on lifestyle, or are you somebody who just kind of wants to focus on just making money? Then there's the channel and brand naming. This is something that can make you stand out as well. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can name yourself a personal brand channel, or you can name yourself what you do, or you can do both, kind of like the guy that we just talked about where he has both of those things in his channel name. Then there's positioning. So you position yourself as an expert, a learner, an enthusiast, etc. And believe it or not, I would actually say that enthusiasts get far more views than experts. For instance, just look at any niche out there. Graham Stephan is not the most knowledgeable person in the world when it comes to finance. He's an enthusiast. However, he gets the most views in the finance niche. So when it comes to positioning, expert is not always the best. Additionally, if you're kind of an intermediate or you're just starting, maybe you're just a little bit ahead of a beginner, you can share your journey of becoming an enthusiast and then an expert. And that would be positioning yourself as a learner. And this is a lot more relatable to people. And so a lot of people will watch your content because you're only a few steps ahead of them. Then you've got taxonomy. There's a lot of stuff when it comes to taxonomy, but the main one is the format of your video. So you could make videos about listicles, right? Top 5 best ways to buy a house. For instance, in the example of Ravi, you could do a how-to video, like how to buy a house. You could do a step-by-step guide to getting the best price with negotiation when it comes to buying a house, something like that. You could do a tutorial video, how to use some software related to buying a house. You could do a case study video, how I bought my first house or how my student bought their first house. And then you go over, case study step-by-step of how that's done. You could do a new style video, talk about some kind of thing like how some tariffs are affecting the real estate market in Australia or something like that. Some type of news that pops up and how that's going to affect the real estate market, etc., etc., etc. The format of your video is huge. You will notice that all of the top YouTubers have the same format in almost every single video they post. Think Mr. Beast, Graham Stephan, Mr. Who's the Boss. They all have essentially the same formats in at least 80% of the videos they post. So this is a big one to think about. Then high effort versus low effort content. Some people put hundreds and hundreds of hours into every single video. Others put less than an hour. And you would be surprised, a lot of the time, the low effort content actually performs a lot better. So this is another one that you want to think about. Then entertainment versus education ratio. So how much of your content is going to be entertaining and how much is it going to be educational? Obviously, with an educational channel, it should be at least 50% educational, but some people put a lot of jokes in there. On my main channel, I do a lot more entertainment. On this channel, I keep it like 95% education, but this is definitely something to think about. Then you've got controversial versus family-friendly content. Controversy sells, and if you can include a little bit of drama, a little bit of controversy into your videos, it can help you get more views. However, you want to be a little careful here because if you do too much controversy, you can kind of step over the line and then you might get in trouble, you might start getting shadow banned, etc. And then broad versus niche topics. Even though I just said that you should target a niche audience, you can do broad topics and then qualify the people from that audience for your niche offer. An example of someone who does this extremely well is the channel Nomad Capitalist. Nomad Capitalist talks about all kinds of different news and things that are happening around the world. And at the beginning of every single video, he says that he helps 7- and 8-figure business owners optimize their taxes and go where they're treated best. So he has a very niche audience, 7- and 8-figure business owners. There's not that many people out there who have 7- and 8-figure businesses. And what does he do? He helps those people optimize their taxes. But probably 99% of the people who watch his content are not in his target demographic. But with that being said, he probably would argue that he does reach more of his target demographic by making these mass market or broad content videos. However, if you choose to do that, there are some upsides to it, but there's also a lot of downsides. For instance, it's significantly harder to do, and your qualification process has to be significantly better, or else you're gonna end up with a bunch of unqualified people getting on sales calls, which is really gonna annoy you or piss off your sales team if you hire people for that. So now that you know who to target and how to position yourself, how do you make money from day one? One, you wanna make sure to sell high-ticket products and services. Now, when it comes to AdSense, the average channel is making sometimes as low as $2 to $5 per 1,000 views, especially if it's an entertainment channel. Educational channels might make $10 to $20 per 1,000 views, but still, that's not all that much. However, if you're selling a high-ticket product, you are likely going to be making anywhere from $500 to $5,000 per 1,000 views. And I've even seen clients make up to $30,000 per 1,000 views if they have super niche targeting. And with this, one high-ticket sale basically means 100,000 or even 1 million views worth of AdSense money. So which high-ticket offer model should you do? So you basically have 3 different options: done for you, done with you, or hybrid models. Done for you is the easiest to sell, but it's really hard to scale. So this is something like a service offer or an agency offer. A service would be maybe doing somebody's resume for them if they're like an executive or they're trying to get into a finance role, and you can charge thousands of dollars to do that. Or maybe a recruiting offer where you're actually placing someone into people's businesses. And again, you can charge thousands of dollars for that. In fact, I have one client who charges $50,000 to place a specific position into tech companies' businesses. And this client only gets a couple hundred views per video, and last year he made $2 million. Now, another example of this is an agency, and an example of a good agency is Chase Diamond. He has an email marketing agency where he just does all the work for his clients. So he literally just writes the emails for his clients, and he takes care of all the back end, the tech, etc. So again, the positives of this one is it's easier to sell people because if you think about it, they have a problem, and ideally, if you had a problem, you would want to just be able to push a button and the problem goes away. Right? Like that's the ideal situation. It's never going to happen, but that's the ideal situation. Or another way of thinking about it is you just take a pill and the problem goes away. And with a done for you offer, you want to get as close to that as humanly possible. Now, realistically, not all problems can be solved with a done for you offer. In many cases, it's going to have to be a done with you offer. And these are more scalable and enjoyable. So a lot of people will start off with done for you, and then they eventually transition to done with you. And this is typically something like coaching or consulting. So you can charge pretty high prices for this, but you really have to be good at whatever you're teaching, and you kind of have to have proof and build a brand as well, or else not that many people are going to pay for it. Now, this offers a great lifestyle with lots of free time. I also personally just think that teaching is something that you love, and it's something that's very fulfilling for most people. And here's an example of one of my clients that does this. He owns the business My Consulting Offer, and he helps people become management consultants. Now, ideally, you want to make a hybrid model. So the way this works is the things that can be done for you and the things that you can automate and the things that would be very valuable for the client, you do done for you. And then the things that you can't, you do done with you. So with a hybrid model, this actually offers the best of both worlds. So this is what we do in our business, for instance. We teach people how to grow and monetize YouTube, but one of the service offers that we provide is we will actually hire, train, and place social media managers, video editors, and scriptwriters into people's businesses. And then we offer training on the side, not only for the employees that we place, but also for the business owner and their team as well, right? So that's the coaching component. And another example of a hybrid model is Boyd Cluess. He did something very clever. He helps technology professionals get into a very specific high-paying cybersecurity role called PCI compliance. And this is a role where you can make upwards of $200,000 a year, and there's a massive shortage of people who have the right skills. And so he's actually making money on both sides because people pay him $17,000 to get trained for the cybersecurity role, but then on the other side, companies will actually also pay him a placement fee after he trains those people if he places them into businesses. So he's actually getting paid from both sides. And this is a brilliant model that I see more and more people doing. Cole Gordon is another example of this. People pay him to become high-ticket closers, and then he also gets paid to place the people after they've reached a certain level of competence. So which price range best aligns with my perception of value and need? You might be asking yourself this. Well, English with Lucy, I met her at a business conference, very nice lady, and a lot of her products are $27 to $97. Why? Because she sells English lessons to an international audience, aka she's selling to people that don't have a lot of money. Then you've got someone like Iman Gadzhi, who is incredibly good at marketing. And he also gets millions and millions of views a month, and he typically sells products that are around $297 to $997. Now, some of them are software products, some of them are courses. I think he sells up to $1,500 sometimes. And he makes around $200 per 1,000 views. So very good for a mid-ticket product, but still, you have to get millions of views to make this work. And he makes $1 to $2 million a month. Then you've got Boyd Cluess, who makes about $1.5 million a month teaching people how to get into a very specific cybersecurity job that pays around $200K per year, PCI compliance. His coaching program is $17,000, and he's making around $7,000 per 1,000 views. Right, so he's making around 35 times more per 1,000 views than Iman Gadzhi. And therefore, even though he only has to get a couple 100,000 views a month, he's still absolutely crushing it, making around the same amount of money. So this is why I always recommend doing high ticket. Iman Gadzhi at one point had a team of over 100 people working on his YouTube channel and his social media presence. Boyd Cluess probably has a tiny team of maybe a video editor and a scriptwriter, and that's about it. So if you want to make a ton of money without having to have a super high production setup, this is what I recommend doing. Sell high ticket. Now, if you haven't created a structured offer yet, you can literally just start with one-on-one coaching. And the easiest way to do this is just by posting a Calendly link in your description. Now, the funny thing is, I've actually seen one of the top sales trainers in the industry, and this is the funnel that he's using. He literally just has a Calendly link in his description. That's it. And this is also what I did when I launched my 30-day challenge. Another handicap that I put on myself is I didn't want to use a fancy sales funnel because, again, that would be something that people would say is, oh, you had this advantage or that advantage. So I literally just put a Calendly link in my description, and that is how I was able to make $30,000 in my first month. So people just booked a call with me. If they were qualified, I'd take the call. If they weren't, I would cancel the call. And then when they showed up to the call, I would help them. And then at the end, I would pitch them. And you can almost think of this like getting paid to do market research, right? So you're developing your expertise, you're doing market research on the people that actually book calls with you, and you're getting paid to do research. And then once you've done that research, once you see, hey, it seems like a lot of this type of person is booking calls with me, then you can create a funnel. You don't need complicated funnels to start. And in certain niches, the Calendly funnel is actually working better than complicated funnels in the first place. Because if you think about it, it kind of disarms people, right? Instead of seeing a VSL page and stuff like that, they can just book a call directly with you. Now, if you want to get a little bit more complicated, I recommend the software Go High Level. This is basically an all-in-one CRM, landing page software, email marketing software, Calendly. It's like everything all put into one piece of software. And it's pretty easy to use. They have exceptionally good customer service. They have lots of templates for different types of businesses. They just make it incredibly easy for you to set up a funnel and set up your entire system. So for beginners, this simplicity is absolutely invaluable. Now you might notice that I still use ClickFunnels, and the reason for that is partially because we're already kind of dialed into their system and we just don't want to redo everything. And the second is I do think if you use the in-class best piece of software for each of the individual steps, that I think it might be like 10 to 20% better. And I have a dedicated IT person and funnel builder, so you absolutely don't need to do that. Go High Level is completely fine. And what's even crazier is you can set up your channel to have multiple income streams and even make more money. And this is with the cash code system. So high ticket offers should be your base, and this should be your main way of making money because it's the easiest way to make money. But how do you have revenue strategies for expansion and growth? And how do you maximize your opportunities for cash flow? Well, you do it with the cash code system. And one of my favorite ways is affiliate marketing. So just as an example, Go High Level, one of the companies I just talked about, has a great affiliate system. And there are people right now that are making over $1 million a year just promoting Go High Level. And so you can put affiliate links in your description and you can make a ton of extra money by doing that. I personally make 6 figures a month just from affiliate income alone. Now the question is, how do you find good affiliate marketing opportunities? Well, the easiest way is to just simply research your competitors. Another way is to look at products, software, services, etc. that you're already using, and then just simply check the website footers. You can Control F and put affiliate or partner or referral, and a lot of the time they'll have a program for that. And then additionally, you can directly outreach to those people too. Or once you've grown your channel a bit, if you're watching this and you have a channel that's already pretty good, they'll probably start outreaching to you. So you can see Course Careers is one affiliate partner that I've promoted heavily. They basically help people get into entry-level jobs without the need for a college degree or previous experience. And you can see at the bottom of their website, they have an option to join their affiliate program. You click on that, it goes here, and then you can basically apply to join. Thomas Gannett, for instance, is one of those people who is making over $100,000 a month in passive income just by simply promoting Go High Level. Sponsorships are another great way to make money. Now, this isn't my favorite way. I think there's a lot of downsides to this, but basically you get paid a flat fee to either do a dedicated sponsor video where the entire video is about the company, or an integration where you simply integrate that company into the videos that you're already making. And you can get the flat fee, and then you can also additionally negotiate affiliate revenue too. So every single time a person buys, you might get an additional 20%. So yeah, companies pay creators for promotions. The typical rates are gonna vary based on views and niche. There's a fee structure. It often includes a flat fee and then also commissions. But the problem is you have less creative freedom. And you can see that, bad things can happen. Just as an example, FTX. All the freaking finance YouTubers were promoting FTX, right? All the biggest YouTubers in finance. And unfortunately, FTX collapsed. And it wasn't just finance YouTubers. It was like Tom Brady. It was a bunch of celebrities. It was literally like venture capitalist-backed firms. Everyone fell into the FTX hype. But unfortunately, the finance YouTubers caught a lot of flack when FTX collapsed. And a lot of people lost money. And the problem is they literally had a contract with FTX to make that content. And so you'll see that there was a channel, for instance, called Millennial Money that had Graham Stephan, Meet Kevin, Jeremy, Personal Finance, and Andre Geek. And they literally had to shut down the entire channel because every single video they made was sponsored by FTX. And you can't go back on that. It's a contract, right? So there are a lot of downsides to taking sponsorships. With that being said, I do have some good sponsorship relationships. I have a great relationship with Coursera, for instance, and they give me a lot of creative freedom. And if you have an entertainment channel, you pretty much have to rely on sponsorships, which sucks. But with an education channel, you can make money in many, many different ways. And also another thing that sucks about sponsorships is the negotiation process. And I highly recommend not negotiating your own sponsorships. Even if you are technically doing it, just pretend like you're somebody else. Because if you're directly negotiating the sponsorship, they know that they have the leverage and they will just waste a massive amount of your time. So yeah, if you're negotiating your own, start a separate email and pretend to be your own agent when negotiating. This is kind of a pro tip. Or just hire someone on your team to negotiate for you, or just have someone on your team that's already doing other stuff negotiate for you. Or you can hire an agency that does all the sponsorship negotiation for you as well. And yeah, I recommend negotiating flat rate plus affiliate commission sponsorships. This allows you to see basically how many conversions they're getting, but it absolutely should be a flat rate. And the reason why is because actually more money is spent on brand building than it is on actual conversions. So 55% of all advertising revenue is spent on brand building. And whenever you sponsor somebody, you are building their brand. You are transferring the trust that your audience has for you to this other company. And so you absolutely should get paid for that up front. And additionally, you should get paid for any conversions that you get. Now, the downside to sponsorships is that you have much less creative freedom over the types of videos you make, which sucks. And another downside is that if the company turns out to be a scam or the CEO is an idiot, if you sponsored them, it will make you look really, really bad. So this is an example of someone doing a sponsored video, betterhelp.com, and it can be really good for certain channels. All right. Another one is low ticket digital products. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this unless you're in one of those niches where your audience truly does not have money. An example of that would be English with Lucy. She's teaching English lessons to people a lot of the time from like third world countries, so they don't have a lot of money. So you have to price your stuff lower. But yeah, low ticket digital products, they're easy to create. There's minimal marketing skill needed because it's a low ticket product. It's almost just like an impulse purchase. It's also good for audience testing just to see what your audience likes. And it's really effective to turn viewers into paying customers. Now, one thing that I really like about low ticket digital products, and that is that they are phenomenal for upselling people to higher products. So they get in initially, they buy your low ticket digital product, they have a great experience with it, and then they're like, you know what? I had a great experience with this guy's product. I want more. I'm gonna buy the coaching program, right? And this is what a lot of people are doing right now with low ticket digital products. In fact, one of the most effective methods that I'm seeing right now in the market, and I actually just got off the phone with someone who owns one of the biggest sales agencies out there, is they sell the low ticket digital product and then they immediately have an outbound team that dials the person, make sure that they have a good experience with the product, and they try to upsell them to the higher ticket product. And this is a super, super effective method that people are using. Now, additionally, with low ticket digital products, you could sell something like a Notion template. Here's an example of someone, Thomas Frank explains, even though he has a relatively small channel here, he's making over $100,000 a month selling Notion templates. And that's actually more than his massive 3 million subscriber channel, which is pretty crazy to think about. Another example of this is selling resume templates or thumbnail templates, that kind of thing. So this can be good for the right type of person and the right type of channel. Next, we've got medium ticket products. So this is usually in the 300 to 2,500-ish range, sometimes up to 3,000. And these typically require really good marketing, right? In order to sell something without getting someone on the phone, but it's still a bit of a higher price, like $300 to $2,500, you have to have really good marketing. So an example of someone who does this well is Iman Gadzi. And he has a very sophisticated marketing funnel set up. I mean, insanely sophisticated. Do not recommend this for the average person. However, if you are able to make this work, it's kind of nirvana just because you set it up and it just does everything for you. Like there's very, very little work on your part, because the sales process is pretty much automated. And one thing that is great about this is it does appeal to more of a mass market and lifestyle businesses, right? So people who aren't necessarily experts, but they're selling to a mass market audience, this type of business works really well for them. So yeah, as a seasoned business owner, you could create a course for the younger version of yourself, set up a pretty simple sales funnel on Go High Level, and then market it on YouTube. And this is a good way of making money. I have a friend who could easily be making, $500,000 a month with his high ticket coaching program, but he basically decided to turn it into a course, and he makes anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 a month doing that. And the reason he does it is simply because of lifestyle. He just wants to have a better lifestyle. He could be making 5 to 10 times more money selling it as a high ticket coaching program with a sales team and then a little bit more work on the back end, but it's just not worth it for him. He cares about lifestyle. He doesn't want to have to do any work, and so he chooses to sell courses.
All right, guys, for 1 month only, we are accepting people into our coaching program, Content Growth Engine, where we help you to grow and make money from your personal brand. Now, this can apply to people who are just trying to get a better job, just grow their personal brand to get a better job. Literally the best way to do this. For instance, one of our clients, Josh, was able to get an offer from 2 different FANG companies, which are the hardest companies in the world to get into, even harder than Ivy League universities. Using his personal brand, or just as a side hustle, right? Just as a way to make a little bit of extra money on the side. We teach people how to do this, or people who are already making money to make more money, or people who already have a full-fledged business and they're crushing it, and they're already have a successful YouTube channel and they want to optimize their YouTube channel and make even more money. So we've worked with literally every one of those types of people, and what makes our system so good is that we combine all of the best practices of building a personal brand, but we use AI to scale things to make it 10 times more efficient. It's something that no one else has ever discovered. It's an amazing opportunity, and that's why I'm so excited to share it with you. So we are accepting 3 to 5 people into the first cohort. You need to be very dedicated, right? Do not apply if you're not super dedicated to growing your personal brand. So you have to be serious, you have to be dedicated, you have to be willing to put in the time, effort, and money that it takes to grow a personal brand. So if that's you, go ahead, apply in the description in the pinned comment below, and hopefully we get to work together. Have a good one. Bye.
Then you've got group memberships, and this is one that is really exploding lately. I'm very bullish on this. And this is basically where you start a community. So you've got School, another School competitor is WAP. They're really, rushing into the membership space. Discord also has memberships. Patreon's been doing this for years. And basically you just set up a membership where you can kind of interact with other people that are interested in the same topic. And you can target niche markets. And one thing that I really like about memberships is, first of all, they're MRR. So they pay you monthly money. And this is something that people, especially that want to buy businesses, this is something that they really love to see. They want to see MRR, right? They don't want to buy the business and then the next month the business doesn't make any money because every month you have to start off from square one. They want to buy a business that's already making money and they just have to maintain and grow that amount of money that they're making. And so MRR is super attractive for many different reasons. And one thing that's great about MRR is you can integrate it with other offerings. So just as an example, you could create a course and then host that course in something like School and turn it into a membership. And you could do like a low ticket membership and then upsell people to higher ticket coaching programs or offers. So yeah, group memberships, really like it, especially for the upselling component. So a couple examples of people who do this really well. Meet Kevin, he's got a membership. Invest Answers, he's got a membership. Hamza has a membership on School. And then finally, the granddaddy of them all, probably the hardest business model to pull off, but the business model that has the most upside is software, SaaS, okay? So basically, this has a massive amount of scaling potential. You can literally sell SaaS products for like $100 million, right? I mean, this happens all the time, where people will create a SaaS, they get, 50,000 people using the SaaS and they sell it for, $20 million, $50 million, $100 million. And a lot of the time it'll sell for 10 to 15x yearly revenue valuations, not even profit, just revenue. Some of these SaaSes don't make money. They spend all the money they make investing it back into the SaaS, and then they sell it for 10 to 15x the yearly revenue. Absolutely insane. So this is a super, super attractive business model for selling specifically. A great example of this is Russell Brunson. He became one of the best or most well-known people in the course and like online info product space. And then he started this company called ClickFunnels. And this company is probably worth anywhere between $1 to $10 billion right now. So Russell Brunson will likely be a billionaire from the SaaS that he started, which is absolutely insane. Now, like I said, this is not going to be a good product for like 99% of people out there. It's only for very specific people in very specific niches. But with that being said, if you can make SaaS work, it is phenomenal. So next question is, what type of videos should you be uploading to your channel? So let's talk about some high converting formats. You've got top of funnel type videos, and these are meant to attract a new audience of people. So these are things like listicles and general how-to videos. Then you've got middle of funnel videos. These are kind of attracting people who are already problem aware typically, right? So they're aware of what problem they have, and they're actively searching for solutions on how to solve that problem. So this would be something like specific how-to videos and non-student case studies. So doing a case study on like Alex Hormozy, for instance. And then you've got bottom of funnel videos, and these are meant to convert people, right? So middle of funnel meant to kind of nurture people. Bottom of funnel is meant to convert. And these are things like interviews, testimonials, and detailed case studies. And the truth is, these ones at the bottom are usually going to get far, far less views than the ones at the top, but they're going to convert significantly better. So it's going to be different for everybody, right? This is something you got to figure out for your channel. On my main channel, for instance, we make a lot of listicles and how-to videos. On this channel, we're more towards the middle of funnel or bottom of the funnel spectrum because we're really just making content for people who are kind of already problem aware, and sometimes they're even solution aware, and we just help get them across the line. So here are some examples of these listicles, how-to videos, specific how-to videos, non-student case studies, and then interviews and testimonials. So just as a summary, when it comes to how to start your YouTube channel, you want to have a target niche, you want to have high ticket offers and multiple income streams if possible, and you want to have a content strategy, right? You want to plan and create engaging content that targets where your specific audience is. And when it comes to this last part that I talked about, you really want to try to be aware of where they are. So just as an example, the reason we make a lot of middle of funnel and bottom of funnel is because I think all business owners out there know that they should be on YouTube, and all YouTubers out there know that they could be monetizing way better than they are right now. And those are the two types of people that are generally attracted to this channel. And that's why we make middle of funnel and bottom of the funnel content on this channel, because we don't need to convince people that they should start a YouTube channel. They already know that they need to start. They just think that it's too hard, or it's going to take too much time, or maybe they're not charismatic, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas on the main channel, we attract a lot of people with top of funnel content because a lot of people aren't really aware that they want a remote job. We kind of have to convince them that a remote job is a good idea. And we give them a bunch of different options for good remote jobs that they could go into. So the typical things that, content creators and influencers do that's a bad idea is they wait to hit the monetization requirements. So oftentimes they spend months or even years before they're even making money. They obsess over views and subscribers, which sometimes that can be a good idea. It depends on what you're selling and your niche. But a lot of the time it's not a good idea. They rely on AdSense and sponsorships, and they can't make money from day one. You, on the other hand, you solve real problems for clients with real money. You own the offer and the intellectual property. You have multiple income streams, and you can make money from day one. And guess what? If later on you want to transition into a mass market channel where you're obsessing over views and subscribers, and you're basically just trying to get as many views as possible and sell more of a mass market offer, you have that option, right? You can always do that. A lot of people end up doing that. They start off niche, and then they go to a mass market offer. And that's actually the best way of doing things, right? You want to be the king of a puddle, then the king of a pond, then the king of a lake, and then a river, and then a sea, and then an ocean. That is the best way to do things. And if you look at all of the biggest names in almost any space out there, for instance, Alex Hormozi, when he first started, he was making extremely specific content. He was helping gyms with their sales and marketing. And then he expanded out from there, and now he basically just makes the most mass market business content possible. And by the way, if you want to skip the line, if you're a business owner, like a busy business owner that wants to start on YouTube, or if you're a YouTuber who wants to really figure out how to make money on YouTube and just turn it into a real business where you're not spending all of your time making YouTube videos, then go ahead and book a call with myself or my team in the description and the pinned comment below. This will be a demo call where we basically figure out where you are right now, what your goal is, make a plan on how you can get from where you are right now to your goal, and then figure out if we're a good fit to work together or not. So it's a no pressure sales call. We aren't going to try to pressure you into working with us. We are going to give you a ton of value during that call. And then at the end, we'll see if we're a good fit to work together or not. So go ahead, click the link in the description and the pinned comment below to check that out. And if you want to see how I was able to help Sean go from $30,000 a month all the way to $500,000 a month within 9 months, then go ahead and check this video out by clicking right here.